Where do you like to pray? Where's that one spot that when you think about it, your eyes kind of close and you get a little bit of a smile and you can't wait to get back there? Do you have one? For me, probably it's outside. It's anywhere outdoors. It's getting out into whatever the temperature is, whatever the weather is, whatever the setting is, but just being outside gives me that feeling of, it just bubbles over with praise as I open my eyes to God's creation that surrounds us, and it's hard not to be drawn into spending time with God when you're in that place. It doesn't mean that I get out and I get down on my knees and I'm very structured with my prayer. Very often it's just as much in the experience. But that's where I like to be the most. The Bible tells us that Jesus was very similar. He would often go outdoors when he needed personal time for prayer. We're told that he would withdraw to the wilderness, that he would climb the mountains, that he would go into the gardens. We know that he would get up early in the morning and go outside. We know that he would venture out in the evenings and sometimes would spend all night. But there's encouragement in that, and it's hard not to understand why. I know for me, when I'm in the Rocky Mountains, right? You're out in the mountains, and whether I'm hiking up it or just driving through them, you can't not be awestruck by the size of them and the magnitude and just the idea that God's fingerprints are all over them. And I'm very often, it brings me to Isaiah 54:10 that says, though the mountains might crumble and the hills will fall, my steadfast love will never change. I can spend time in my garden in the summer or in the spring, and I can be planting seeds or pulling weeds. And it's not very often that I stand up after I'm finished and not realize that I've been contemplating the parable of the seed. And thinking about how the depth and the richness of the soil really affects how healthy the plant is and how strong it grows into. I walk my youngest daughter to the bus in the morning, and coming back, there's birds out there, and they love the morning. They love to sing in the morning, whether it's the chickadees in the winter, the robins in the spring, or the finches in the summer. They're out there, and I hit my front door, and it's just that reminder of, are we not of more value than they? Harvest is one of my favorite times of year. I get out and I help my brother and my dad. Then usually I'm in a grain truck. So I'm hauling grain to and from the farms, and we work late into the night because as long as the weather holds, you get it off. And you step outside, and there's an itch in the breeze, and there's a smell of diesel and grain dust, and it's all floating around. And in the middle of the night, you can get out in the expanse of the stars overhead, and just something on the breeze whispers, the harvest is great, but the workers are few. Pray that the laborers come. Even walking downtown in the middle of a blizzard, right? And you're all hunched over and trying to keep the wind off your face, trying to keep the snow, it from biting at your cheeks and at your eyes. And if I allow myself just a second of time to pull myself out of my circumstance, I can be reminded of the fact that the God that I serve could still that storm with just a word. There's power in that, and there's something that just helps bring my awareness back to the fact that God is always near, always present, and always powerful. If we look around us, there's no shortage of reminders of the creation that God has given us, all that He's provided to take care of us. And like I said, you can be looking at the most magnificent mountain out there, and you can't help but feel small and maybe even a little insignificant. But at the same time, we have to remember that we are loved, that just as that mountain was created, so are we. This past summer, we spent some time with friends, and we decided to keep the kids up and watch the meteor shower, right, coming out of the sky. And it was really cool because it hit me as I'm sitting there going, this is like what infinity looks like, is to look up at this canvas of stars overhead and realize it goes on longer than I can ever imagine. And yet our God could hold that in the palm of His hand. And I had to smile because I also then realized, yeah, but he chooses to live in me, and he chooses to live in you. And so this week I challenge you to go out, to get outside, get some fresh air. It's good for you anyway, but get some fresh air. But take some extra time to really become aware of what's around you. Take your shoes off and walk through the grass. Or take a minute and catch a snowflake in your hand and examine it. See the intricate details and realize that that is one, like it is the only one of that kind. And then turn that inwards a little bit and say, and realize that you are intricate in your detail. You are created with purpose, and you are the only one of you. After this, we got a song for you to listen to as well. So listen to the words, enjoy the pictures, and I hope you have an amazing week.